Welcome to part 2 of my Beginner Guitar Bootcamp Series, where I'm telling you everything you need to know to get started with the guitar. My name is Rob Reed, and this is 20-Minute Guitar Player. A couple things before we get started. If you haven't done so already, head back and check out part 1, where we talk about all kinds of fundamental concepts with the guitar, and then come back over and get things rolling with part 2. And one more thing, don't forget to subscribe, and I left you a free gift down in the pinned comments just for coming by the channel, my ebook, 7 Tips to a Better Guitarist. In today's lesson, we're going to learn 5 more things you need to know when learning how to play the guitar. We're going to look at the easiest way to tune your guitar, the best picks to buy and how to use a pick. You're going to learn your first rock riff, you're going to learn the D major chord, and we're going to look at what's called the guide finger concept. So the simplest way to tune your guitar is through an app called the Guitar Toolkit, and it just goes right on your phone and you take it wherever you go. So you always have a tuner with you in your pocket. And years ago I used to carry this huge tuner around with me, and half the time I wouldn't have it, I'd lose it. It was so big and clunky, it would be bumping around in my guitar case. Now you just take your phone out and you tune it and you put your phone away, and it's amazing. The tuner is really accurate, and I've been using it for about 10 years now, and I can't recommend it enough. So the second thing is the best picks to use. So when strumming, I highly recommend using these yellow Tortex picks, and they're really good thickness for strumming. Like, they're not too hard, so it's really easy to strum and have the strumming sound good. And then if you're doing more picking, I would recommend using the green Tortex, and they have like a picture of a turtle on the front. So yeah, the best way to hold a pick is just hold it really loosely between your thumb and your first finger, and paint really lightly on the strings. And hold it really loose and light to the point where you're almost going to drop it, like that. You don't want to be rigid and really holding on super tightly, because then it just gives it a really rough, rigid sound, and like nobody wants to listen to that. Your first rock riff is a riff by a band called the White Stripes, and it's from their Elephant album, and the song is called Seven Nations Army. So it's really great because it just gets you moving up and down the neck and getting you familiar with the moving into frets up high and down low. So start on the 7th fret with your first finger on the low E string, and we're just going to go, sounds like this. So you start on the 7 and you go 7, 7, 7, 10, 7, 5, 3, 2, 7, 7, 7, 10, 7, 5, 3, 2. And yeah, just take your finger and just drag it up and down the strings, up and down the neck, and try to make it sound good. So. And when you're doing your riff, just push. You got to push pretty hard on the fret, and you got to press close to the metal bar, the metal fret as possible, but not on top of the fret. Just close and snug up to it, but not on top. But not far enough behind it that you're not going to be able to get a sound. But yeah, it's going to hurt your fingers, so just keep it up and stay at it, and you'll get over that hump of feeling like your fingers are really sore, and it'll get better, I promise. So there you go, your first rock riff. Next thing we want to look at is the D major chord. So take your first finger, put it in the 2nd fret, 3rd string from the bottom, or the G string. And then take your 2nd finger, put it in the 2nd fret, 1st string, or the high E string. And then take your 3rd finger and put it in the 3rd fret, 2nd string from the bottom, or the B string. And again, remember, we talked about in our first video, tuck your thumb back so you have that space You have the space between your hand and the neck, and you have that hollowed out hole there. Yeah, so drop your thumb back and just give it a strum. Hold the pick lightly between your thumb and your first finger. And that's your D major chord. And the last thing I want to talk about today is the guide finger concept. So the reason why we're playing A like this and D like this is because we want to keep this finger as your guide finger or your pivot finger. So your first finger on your A chord is going to be your guide or pivot finger, and it's going to stay locked on the neck there, and you're just going to drop the two other fingers down into the proper places. So this finger serves as an anchor to hold your hand in the right spot, so that it will help you change chords a lot easier. So just hold that first finger there and then drop down, second finger, second fret, first string, third finger, second string, third fret. And you can practice moving back and forth, pivoting like that. So A to D to A to D. And for an exercise, I want you to do 8 strums on A and then switch chords and do 8 strums on D and practice changing between A and D. Okay, so we're gonna go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then switch, drop down to D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the whole goal is you want to have a seamless strum right between through the A chord to the D chord. So you don't want any pause or break in between the strumming when you're switching chords. So like this. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you're struggling with, please leave a comment down below and let me know if you're having problems with anything or you want any more clarification, and I'd be happy to write you back. So today we looked at, as a recap, we looked at the simplest way to tune your guitar with the tuner app. We looked at the best picks to buy, in my opinion, and the best way to hold a pick. We learned your first rock riff by the White Stripes. And then we learned about our anchor finger or pivot or guide finger. Okay? So have a great time practicing this and stay tuned for part 3.